So I've only talked about the laws of economics, and I've sort of like reasoned about them as some word or some phrases that we use in the real life, like value of um, one man's gold is one man's trash is another man's gold, and don't compare apples to oranges. These kinds of phrases tell us that value of different things is different for different people. So we've only looked at like phrases. Now I want to formalize how we actually write this down. So let's say V is the value of something, and we since value is subjective, we'll need to assign like the value of what item are we talking about. So let's say it's an orange, so I'm going to write an O under the V for an orange, and on top of here I'm going to write Amar, because the value of orange is for Amar. And from subjective value, we know that this may or may not be equal to value of oranges for Puran. And we can't say that it's equal. It's not equal, but we can't even say it's not equal. So essentially, we can't say anything. We can't make any hard conclusion, because it might actually be that the value for one orange for Amar is equal to the value for one orange for Puran. Instead of thinking of value and trying to figure out what the value of something is inside someone's head, uh, what we can look at is we can look at facts. So, and by facts, I mean things that take place in the world, some event that happened, and that is going to be a transaction. So, a transaction is a fact. It is a fact. If a transaction happened, that means there was something in the world that was traded for another thing. And at that moment, we can say that if um, let's say a dozen oranges were traded for 10 apples, what we can say, or like 4 oranges were traded for 3 apples, we can say these were equal at the time of the transaction. And there is a person here who bought those oranges, traded those apples, and there's a person here who gave those oranges. So the value of this for this person and the value of this for this person was equal at some point in time. And to simplify this equation, we're not gonna like say that it was equal. We're gonna kind of disregard the timestamp, but it was equal at that one moment in that history. So now we've established an equality. So I'll write it down in terms of maths, in like a mathematical notation. So value of oranges for Amar is equal to value of apples for Puran, right? And these are we also need to enter the quantity, like 4 oranges and 3 apples. So the value of, so we can write it like this: value or oranges for Amar. It's getting a little complicated. or we can say value oranges, 4 oranges is equal to value Puran 3 apples, right? This is a function that we cannot look inside of. The value function for Amar. Like we cannot open Amar's head and look inside his head how much value he puts on oranges, and we cannot open Puran's head and we cannot figure out how much value he puts on apples. So this is going to be our notation. We cannot open this function, but there's this function that we do not understand, and at some time t, this statement is true. It's a fact. And this is a way to reason about subjective value. This is it for this lesson. Tune in another time. We were talking about subjective value. There you go.